Welcome, race fans, to the Open Speedway Racing Network. I'm your host, Razor Blades. This week, the Thursday Night ARCA series went to Iowa Speedway, and their simulator that they run is from the Sim Factory. They're located at www.thesimfactory.com, and the simulator that they run is the ARCA 08, which is ARCA Sim Racing at its best, as real as it gets. All logos within the game are registered and officially licensed. The Thursday Night ARCA Series kicked off Season 5, Race 1. The pole sitter for the event for the Amp Energy 200, which the boys did 200 laps today, was Lance Main, driving the Casola Farms number 1. He turned in a time of 23.118. On his outside, turning in a respectable 23.174, was Chuck Runyon, driving the Hot Wheels Jegs number 20. Inside row, on the second row, was Tommy Zerbelli, driving the Red Dog number 34. On the outside of him was the Under Armour number 1 driver, Reed Dreets. Row 3, Timmy Ushler was driving the DuPont Chevrolet number 24, and on his outside, the returning champion from Season 4, driving the Amp Energy car number 18, Hollis Vanderloon. In row 4, on the inside, was Chris Walker driving the Z-Max number 71. On his outside was Brad Legato driving the Max Power Switchmaster number 20 car. Fifth row was Lee Turner on the inside driving the number 13 Chevy sponsored car. On his outside was Dennis Wright II driving the unsponsored number 51. Sixth row was Roger Runyon Jr. driving the Nestle Quick number 98, and on his outside was Paul Hahn driving the Captain Morgan number 7. On the next row in the inside lane was Gordon Hutchinson driving the number 88 National Guard. On his outside was Kevin Franks driving the Texas Longhorn sponsored number 98. On the next row in the inside lane was Frank Brzezinski driving the Dodge sponsored number 4. On his outside was Mark Bratcher driving the Twinkie sponsored number 46. And our last driver for the evening, in 17th spot starting, was Jake Anderson driving the U.S. Army number 128. Early on we had a caution at lap 6. And on this replay here it shows that we had a couple new guys and a new setup that we were working on. So the guys had to sort of settle in and try to figure out the setup and the track, because a lot of things changed since the patch. We had 10 cautions for the 200 laps, and the 200 lap event actually took them 175 miles of racing. Iowa Speedway is 0.875 miles long and oval, and it's basically a short track considered anyway. The next caution didn't come out till about lap 58, and the leaders changed at that point, with green flags, pit stops, and then the late caution here shown in the replay. Lee Turner took the lead, followed by Chris Walker, Jake Anderson, Lance Main, and Frank Brzezinski. Here's some 3-wide action here shown on the screen. The boys settled in after that caution and did some long runs, and actually till the next caution came out, caution 3 didn't come out till lap 112. At this point, they had another green flag pit stop, and a few cars got a lap down. At this point, there was 9 cars on the lead lap. The rest of the cars, the remaining cars, were a lap down or better. At this point, Chuck Runyon was leading them with Timmy Ushler in second, Tommy Zerbelli in third, with Brad Legato and Frank Brzezinski still in fifth. Later in the race, at lap 173, a 7th caution came out. And at this point, the guys had to really settle in and figure out pit strategy. So as they went into the pits, Tommy Zerbelli's crew got him out first. And at that point, Tommy kept out front and stayed out front until the end of the race. Towards the end, in the 10th caution that came out late, just before the 200 lap was taken, we had to go into green-white checkered. And at that point, Tommy had to decide if he needed to go in for tires or stay out. and his crew told him to stay on out. So he fended them off, and Tommy Zerbelli got his first win in our ARCA series since starting with us since season 1. Tommy was elated and congratulated his crew for getting him out so quickly to stay out front. As you can see here, we had some of our green flag pit stops. This is Lee Turner coming down all by himself, and then later on Chris Walker came down all by himself while the field stayed out. This was before the lap 58, and when Lee and Chris caught back up to the field, they were 1-2. So, with your finishing order of this race, it was Tommy Zerbelli, then Timmy Ushler in second, Lance Main in third, Frank Brzezinski moved up 1 to fourth, Chuck Runyon finished in fifth. That's your top 5. Reed Dreetz finished in sixth, Paul Hahn finished in seventh, Brad Legato finished in 8th, Hollis Vanderloon finished in 9th, and Kevin Franks finished in 10th. Jake Anderson finished 11th, 12th was Lee Turner, 13th was Mark Bratcher. Those were all your lead lap cars at that point of the race. The following cars were a lap or 2 laps down. Then 14th was Chris Walker, 15th was Dennis Wright, and 16th was Roger Runyon, and then 17th was Gordon Hutchinson. This is the last lap going into what would be the last lap of all. There you could see Mark Bratcher lost it into turn 2, and then Tommy Zerbelli just put the hammer down and took her to the checker, and you could see how close Lance Main and Timmy Ushler were trying to get to Tommy to get the win. As Tommy was elated, he was congratulating his crew and everybody around him for racing so clean. The event actually ended up being a 206 lap event with the cautions and debris for the debris to get cleared off the field. So we want to thank you guys for watching tonight. Like I said, this is Razor Blades, your host. We go to Kentucky for our next race, and that should be an awesome event. The guys will be going 200 mile an hour plus going into turn 1, and we'll have some highlights from that race of next week. Thank you for stopping by, and this is the Open Speedway Racing Network.